Hello and welcome to another episode of Echoes in Exile. I'm here with Hberg, Spooker HD, and Barricade, and today we are going to go over what's happened, what is to happen, and what you guys think of what our opinions are, and we'd like to hear from you as well. Spooker, if you'd like to start us out.
Where we're starting at? Thought Hberg was
Uh,
taking it off. You take the
segment one,
ropes.
but let's just want to introduce our fellow panel members here. Of course, that was Reaper the introduction. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks for having us here. Hberg, our homie Barricade, and Spooker HD. So, I want to dive right into segment number one. So, first question is the next PoE2 league estimated for next month and current PoE1 league feedback. Now, in regards to the next PoE2 league estimated for next month, that's in regards to how GGG and Jonathan in that interview said they want to have a 2-month balance between PoE1's new league release and PoE2. So there's about a 2-month play window there. It's keeping things refreshed between both games and new content and such. So do we at this particular time? It has been how many days exactly? Sorry guys, for PoE1's release.
PoE1's release? Oh, it's been out forever.
The new league is it June 6th? The new I'm referring to the league, not the game. Sorry, I believe it's June 6th.
Huh? We're about 3 weeks past, so maybe a month past now. June 6th sounds about right. Yeah.
But okay, so my question is for you guys: do we think they're going to be on time for that whole 2-month estimate between the two? Like, do we think the next league for PoE2 will be dropping roughly next month from now?
I say yes.
I say yes too, because I'm pretty sure they came out with another interview recently that they're basically saying they'd rather meet their time hacks that they're putting out there than get all the extra blemishes and whistles cleaned out for their releases. So I would say, yeah, it's going to be launched. It may not be with all the content we're expecting or want,
agree.
but
I agree. I think once they get themselves on a better pattern, solid, that's their foundation, then they could work on the tweaks as actual work, and the foundation's already there. It's like clockwork. They don't have to worry about it. So I agree with that.
Right. And I'm in the same boat too. I'm hopeful. And my vote is for yes, because I think it's important for them to actually nail that. And they kind of already set it off on, a good standard, right? So said, okay, well, great. Even, their original prediction, was to have the 2-month gap, and clearly they released on time, so the system is in place. Also, I haven't noticed many patch news or any major patches releasing for PoE1's current league, so I don't think there's any setback there in terms of dev on the dev side. So if with the whole new Mercenaries thing and the new Atlas content and stuff, most of it's all been positive feedback, and again, no changes or any bugs really to address for PoE1. It's nothing that I've also heard from either Spooker or Barricade. So I'm sure they've had that extra time to just allocate it towards PoE2's next league and just keep it on schedule.
Chime in there, Spooker. You want to go?
There's one bug that is absolutely killing a lot of people, and it's probably because it's specifically towards Blight. But it's not only in Blight, but it's an issue where your whole HUD basically gets disabled and it starts flickering, right? Because there's too many monsters and sounds and all that going. And I haven't noticed it outside of Blight yet, but I have heard as you get into like some of the breaches, I know in some of the breaching strats it happens there, but it's very, very dominant this league, more so than in 325. So
I felt it. I'm doing strong boxes, harbingers. I'm doing delirious content, and your screen is blank. And all you hope is that your defenses are holding up. I've had it, and you could watch it when we're streaming it. It's like it just goes. There's nothing you could do because you can't react. You just have to hope that before everything went away, you put yourself in a good spot because you're just at the mercy of Pandora's box. Like, and what you're talking about, Spooker too, right? You want that because that means that's the juice. Mm-hmm. That means that's the quant. And so like you want to hear that sharp kind of tink. It's like, damn, am I alive though? Because like you're saying, you said you're running what are you running? Not breach. What are you running? What's your thing?
Blight.
So you can't afford to be getting clapped, right? Because you got to watch those lanes. Yeah. Okay.
The worst part about Blight specifically too is that with your defenses, the towers I've noticed that when that starts happening, the towers stop working. So you can get absolutely cooked if it goes
The
on for
towers
too
stop?
long.
Oh, then you're screwed. Okay.
That's what I'm
How do
saying.
you do tower defense with no towers?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's like
Okay.
definitely like a hardcore mode, like bare bones hardcore.
You're
No,
done.
nothing.
Yeah, you're cooked.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
That's, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, big problem. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So then I guess this is mostly a question for Barricade and Spooky here, because we probably know you and I haven't been too invested into the PoE1 as of lately. Now, the second question here for this segment is, how does the current state of PoE1 feel to you guys? Well, how would you say overall? Like,
Spooker go. Spooker
list
go.
it all.
So good. Obviously we were in Settlers, right? King's March for 11 months, a little over 11 months.
Almost a whole
And
year.
It's like in the last 11 months, plus I would say the Graveyard League and then what was that
Acropolis,
called?
yeah.
Necropolis.
Necropolis?
And then
Yeah.
Affliction. So that's at least a year and a half. This is by far so good. Like it's so awesome. It's so good. I normally have no issue re-rolling or starting a new character because you kind of get bored doing the same thing over and over. And obviously in Path of Exile 1 and 2, you have different builds that do different stuff. You got your bossing, you got your heist, you got your mapping. You have different builds that perform better at different tasks.
Right.
But in this particular league, I'm stuck on the one character because it's just so good. I haven't had a reason or a need. I haven't gotten bored yet, so it's been great.
That's
I
great.
feel the same way. And like I've been playing Righteous Fire, and I'm bringing the community along with me. So my whole thing was I don't want to play a build by myself. I want to play a nice, easy to get into Path of Exile 1 build for people that haven't played before. So we were transitioning from Path of Exile 2, which we all had a blast playing, into Path of Exile 1. But now I'm doing something in PoE 1 that I've never done, and like this is 3,000 hours of Path of Exile 1, is I'm crafting mirror tier gear, which is like if you're like a
Very
fan
nice.
of Diablo 2, yeah, I'm crafting my own formula to make Burr and Jaw runes so I can make my own Enigma, and it's working. It's like, okay, this is that level of dopamine, like bringing that together and then knowing how to do it and then translating that for other people so they could have Enigma too has been so rewarding. And that's the dopamine hit, because like when the divines drop, it's okay. You're giving me more fuel. Like I can turn every divine into 10 divines. So now it's not like elitist. I would say like PoE Elite owns the game for me, where I have to go trade to get that upgrade. I can make it myself. And so
Yeah, it's a good point.
I have to give a big shout out to Pox. Pox came by. If you guys don't know who Pox is, he's like the champion of like Righteous Fire for Path of Exile. This guy
Messiah.
knows the Messiah, right? He's the guy. So like,
Yeah, the
guy
prophet.
yeah, the prophet Bahax, right? He comes by the channel, personally reviews my build as it was. But what he did was he showed me how he makes his gear. Like he showed me how he would craft it. And I was like, oh shit, that makes it so much. Oh, okay, that makes it way more sense than what I was ever going to do. And I was able to take that and like transcend certain builds with this. Anyway, so it's been really, really good. The mercenary layer is exciting because every time you go into a map, you don't know what mercenary you're going to get. And that mercenary could have a Mirror of Kalandra on him. You might have a cool new item that your build needs. Like every map is like that. Every zone you go in could have that. So in addition to trying all the different end games that like Breach or Harvest or Blight as an example, I want to go through as many as I can with this Righteous Fire to see which one was the most impressive for me. And right now it's strong boxes. So I hit level 100 for the second time ever, which is the highest you can get. Did it with the community. And it was just awesome. It was so
Congrats.
fun. Thanks, man. And it's like, and I'm not done yet though. Like I still lose sleep thinking about the trades I'm not doing because the gear could be so much better. It's like, I haven't had that feeling since like early days PoE2 and Diablo 2 Resurrected. Like it's that same hit. So really loving it.
Speaking of trade.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Oh, trade go,
Losing sleep for a good reason.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah, good
Yeah.
reason. It's always
Yeah.
awesome when it's a good reason, like the night before Christmas,
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of
So-
trade though, right? Before we
Yeah.
jump around, trade, that's actually a perfect time to kind of dive into the idea of the auction house, whatever they want to call it, that they're supposedly bringing to Path of Exile 2 for test,
Yeah.
right?
That's pretty cool.
Which obviously sounds great. But just a quick side note with that, a lot of people and some of the long-term crafters that do these secret strats behind the scenes on PoE1 are kind of like, I don't want that, right? Because that's one of my money makers. But like you just said, Barricade, you learned to craft those mere tier items. And I think, yes, things might get more expensive. Yes, it may become easier for bots to control the market, but when bots control the market, which they're gonna control the market, that's inevitable. You can't stop it, right?
We must stop Skynet.
I
Yes.
disagree, but continue.
Well,
Let's get to your point. Let's get to your point.
essentially,
Instead of
but what
debating
I'm getting
bots.
at
Yeah.
though is
Yeah.
even with the bots controlling the market, right? And this is my opinion, but even with bots controlling the market, what this will do is draw out more people to do exactly what you're doing. Learn the crafting methods, because I can't afford that gear now because the price has been pushed up too high for me potentially to buy. So I can craft that item, then sell those items at those levels and actually make more profit, because now I'm forced to learn some of these mechanics to make that gear because it's out of my reach of just farming. Because raw currency will be, just be honest, if you actually look at your raw currency drops versus the amount of money you make in a league, the raw drops are very minuscule. I mean, I've dropped like 5 raw divine and like 500 chaos this league. Now I don't have as much time as you.
That's
'cause you're
all?
sleepless. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Sure. Okay, that's fine. That's fair. Depends on what you're running too, right? You could try different endgame stuff. I
Yeah,
hear your point.
exactly.
It's interesting. Yeah, that's cool. But the idea of the Path of Exile. Oh, go ahead. Reaper, go.
I was going to say, I think in my experience and my history of RPGs anyway, not necessarily ARPGs, but RPGs in general, the auction house has, if I think of it theoretically and what it could do to the ARPG, is open the trade to a lot more people who don't know what something sells for, or even if they're going to sell things in the first place. I guarantee you 90% of an average player just sells their crap to the merchant.
A lot of people do, actually, yeah.
So when they're picking up things off the ground and they're like, "Oh, this little piece of stone is worth this. I could farm this all day and put it in auction." And boom.
It's a fair point. Imagine this. So you played Path of Exile 2. You know when you would do an interaction, Reaper, with Alva in your hideout to like buy things?
Yeah.
Right?
That's
what if
basically
Alva but what if Alva didn't exist? How's your PoE2 experience?
For me, it's up and down, but mostly down.
Mostly down, right?
Mostly down.
So we're gonna find out, based off what Spooker's saying, how much up is it for everybody who's like following a guide to all punch in the exact same base weapon type, socket requirements, colors. Like people that know how to make that for you, we're gonna be living large, and those that don't know how are gonna have to figure it out quick or have resources available to learn that, so that they can
farm for the people who can craft. Yeah,
that's right.
And, since you brought up Alva, that I didn't think about that, but they have to change her. They'd have to.
Why?
With an auction. Or make her the auction house.
That's what it would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she gives you items or gear, right? Like, let's say H-Berg comes out this brand new slapping paladin build, right? He's doing some smite build. Well, I want the same shield he uses. How do I get it? Okay, that's the stats on it. I look for those stats and then I buy it. And I'll put up 10 divines or 10 burr runes until it becomes available. And the second one comes in, I automatically get it even if I'm asleep.
Right.
That's the cool part.
Right. But if it's Spookers that puts it up, and you just like been waiting, then you would grab Spookers. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that's how it's going to work, right?
Well, that's how it works now.
Kind of how the biggest auction house that's ever been built in the game on World of Warcraft. That's how that works.
So like Spooker, right?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think Spooker, unless you're kind of thinking in relevance to the currency exchange, like how it's set up, like, you know how you exchange X amount, like A material for B material, and it just sources it from the entire database. Like, you don't know exactly who you just bought or exchanged those 10 exalted orbs for chaos orbs from.
Right.
Or okay. And then going back to D3, how yes, it was individual listings, specific listings from this particular user, and you'll know it's from that person. Yeah. Interesting.
More easier to do it is like Spooker just puts up a shield. Whoever buys the shield, whoever, but he doesn't know who he's buying it from, but he bought it, and Spooker gets money or whatever. That seems like an easier play.
I agree, but that's going to be the biggest takeaway from the test, right? Because we don't know how it's going to work. We don't know if, like you said, Barricade, if you're
and filters too.
If you're going to be able to put in the currency and be like, hey, I'm willing to pay this for this item with these stats. If you can put in ranges. See,
Well, the market sets the rate. The market sets the rate. Like
The
someone's
market
going to be
always-
undercutting all the time, and then
Yeah.
you're going to need to hit that Sephel's frame, right? That unique shield. Okay, and so the market price, one guy's got it for 60C, everybody else is a divine. So you just have an active trade. I'll buy them all for under a divine. Okay, like I assume that's how it would work because you could list that now on their website. So it's just a translation of taking the website people that don't respond, making all that gear available at all times, and then allowing me to buy it immediately because it's there. I just have to have access to that tab in the database, like Hberg says, to get it.
right.
That's gonna be so good. So you go to work, you come back, and then bang, like Reaper's saying, right? You suddenly have 24 more divine that you wouldn't have had because your stuff sold because somebody paid the price you wanted. It's like, okay, like that's all it should be.
I
Yeah.
was just thinking about the reverse side of it though, right? Like you can always sell stuff. Like you'll be able to sell the thing while you're sleeping, but you can't. I personally don't think that you're going to be able to buy any gear while you're sleeping. I don't think that that's how it's going to be set up to work.
Maybe coming out right away, that might not be a thing, but it definitely should be.
Could be.
You can do it. You can do that right now.
Yeah,
with currency.
With currency, yeah, but currency goes
right.
both ways. You set the exchange rate, right? It's just a currency to currency exchange, which makes sense. But for like you said, like a piece of gear where you have to be more specific.
We'll see. I don't know.
If you put it up for 30 divine, and I say I'll buy this for 30 divine when it comes available, as soon as it hits that back end, it'll just make the transaction.
I don't disagree with that idea, but I think that the variable ranges of items is just too vast to be able to do that right away. Now, obviously, I'm sure they have the capabilities and the power, but as a new implementation,
I hope it works.
We'll see.
Yeah. Now, the other thing with that though is if it goes well, I really hope it does because I like the idea of going down that path. The testing for an auction house might be extensively long.
Yeah.
Well, they already said they're going to use Path of Exile 2 as the testing ground for PoE1, right? So we know that that's going to be like the playground for that kind of thing. And I guess we probably talk about that later, but I'm okay with that. Like test there. It's a great game. Test there. Go ahead. I don't mind testing. Like at least have access to
honestly,
the feature.
those are all great speculations, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited for this whole auction house thing. I mean, I am. I think that's a great thing to have, and it just expands the trading economy a little bit more.
How much better is Diablo 2 Resurrected if there's an in-game auction house through like Tyrael's cool hot house, right? Like, bam, you go there. Okay, I need some runes. I just trade down. Like, I'd be sick.
Yeah. Instead of using these third-party websites
tools.
and
right,
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And then they don't have to have the
third party.
Yeah.
I also think that there might even be people, because I was this way in WoW. Like I spent 24/7 at the auction house, didn't go anywhere else, and ended up losing my whole life. But literally, like, there's going to be people that are like, now I'm just an auction house player, and that's fantastic. It opens a whole new gameplay for people.
They already exist, though.
They already exist. Yeah.
But
We call them hideout warriors.
More inclusive, I think.
Yeah. There you go.
The thing
all
is,
right, guys.
so,
well,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Barricade.
Okay, I was just gonna say to the Hideout Warrior, it seems like the more you get into a game, the less you have to leave your hideout because you just understand how to exploit the mechanics of a game to the point where I don't have to farm the content for it. I know it's available for me with games that have open trade, and I just have to interact with trade and then humans. I don't have to do the actual mechanics of a fight or whatever. I just learn how to flip the script, right? Just day trading in ARPGs. That was all.
Pulled up one of their streams.
Sorry?
They literally have like 150 different tabs open of different trade windows and regions. It's crazy to watch one really in-depth like crafter that only sits in his hideout, doesn't even move his character. Like, it is crazy to watch one of their streams.
Shout out to our boy Janus there on that one.
He gets it. Yeah, he gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, great guys. Honestly, great points. Last question here for this particular segment, though. Is there more? Do you guys feel like there's more player draw still towards PoE1 than PoE2?
No.
Nope.
More player draw? No.
Towards
define
PoE1
player
than
draw.
PoE2.
You mean like players playing actively?
Not player retention.
Oh,
player.
Not
players
necessarily
playing
players
actively?
retention, but players. Yeah, so to draw players back towards the new league for PoE1 versus drawing more players back
Oh.
for a new league on PoE2.
Gotcha.
Which, like, do you guys think there's more concurrent players or returning players the entire overall for PoE1 than there would be, say, for the next PoE2 league or even Dawn of the Hunt?
No.
Nope.
It's
No,
a it's asked in a strange way. Unfortunately, like we can
think
see
it's-
the sorry. It's just that we can see the player waves. Like any ARPG, when the season or league starts, the wave
Yeah.
is high, then it drips, right? But the thing is, and then you guys, I want to hear yours too. But Path of Exile 1 is not meant for the new player. So you're going to get more of that kind of human being interacting with PoE2 because it just overtakes. It's designed to do that. Like it can
Mhm.
welcome more people in easy and then retain them. But the drop off will be still vast because it's ARPG season stuff. But I don't think there's more people playing PoE1 now, no. And I think there will be more people playing longer PoE2, yes. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
I think
Well,
I'm leaning towards that concept for PoE2 as well. The fact that, again, it's new and there's still things being released. And like you said, it's more friendly towards newer players or beginning players. And yeah, it would be cool to actually see a comparison to see the first 48 hours of the player base for Dawn of the Hunt League compared to
So they
the
have those
first 48
numbers.
hours of PoE1's new Mercenaries league.
they-
So that would
yeah,
be interesting.
They do have
Yeah.
that stat.
But
somewhere.
it's
But
kind of the same situation with like Diablo 4, right? A lot of
Yep.
people are saying, Diablo 4 is dead. It's not good. D4 bad. Whatever you want to call it. But in reality, D4 is thriving because who does it accommodate? The casual player. And there's more casual players than one percenters,
yes,
which would be like
I know,
streamers, dedicated content creators. There's more casual players. It's like the movie A Bug's Life, right? The ants outnumber the grasshoppers 100-1, easily.
It's a great
Yep.
movie.
Well, here's
Yeah, I love
my
the
take.
reference.
Here's how
Huh.
I took the question. I took it as boxing in PoE, not any other game. So if we look at just the up and down of PoE1 to up and down PoE2, right now, I think as far as concurrent returning, it's going to be PoE1 every time, hands down, because the player base is already solidity in foundation, if that's a word.
Solidified.
Solidified. Yeah. So,
All right.
but that's short term, very short term, because we now have PoE2, and they're in cyclical seasons, right? Leagues.
That's where the
So-
big retention's going to bounce.
Right. So PoE1's going to heighten right now to PoE2, but wave into PoE2, wave back into PoE1, and
Yep.
eventually it's going to even out, and all the players are going to play both, including
Not all,
newcomers
but
coming
a
in.
lot of them may give the other
Because-
one a go. I agree.
Because nobody in the world understands PoE1 at all, but everybody can understand PoE2. So the more they play the leagues, the more they get into PoE. Oh, I want to try PoE1, and then that'll flow the cyclical
Right.
league. they're
And
having.
Yeah.
and like we've said in previous podcasts, it's definitely Path of Exile 2 is definitely a good entry point to the
Yeah.
genre of Wraeclast, right? So
Yeah, for sure, and especially the whole passive skill tree, which is usually the number one reason why a lot of new players find this particular franchise intimidating.
yep.
And I feel without the color-coded gem sockets in gear and tackling that passive skill tree in Path of Exile 1, that's what Path of Exile 2 made a lot more easier and less intimidating for new players.
Yeah.
For sure. That's like most of the feedback we've heard.
So we got numbers.
I do.
You got numbers?
I was
Yep.
pumping some numbers, yeah. So like
Okay.
it's a bit vague on the second one, but Path of Exile: Secrets of the Atlas, which is what we're playing now, the one that we can't stop playing,
Right.
had a peak
Yes.
concurrent user count of 178,000, is what it's saying here, and that's according to a Path of Exile forum. While Dawn of the Hunt, Path of Exile 2, this is Dawn of the Hunt, on its 48-hour release had over 459,000. So many ants to grasshoppers. Like it is not even close.
Yeah.
But that
Wow.
also doesn't surprise me because it seems like when you get the feel of Path of Exile 2, it's a difficult game, but it tries to welcome you in with good information. Path of Exile 1 is like, we want you to hit the end game, and when you get here, it's confusing as shit, but that's what you asked for, so like we can get even crazier. Yes. They're just dialing up to 11,000. It's like they don't care, and that's okay. You have options. But anyway, there's your numbers.
When you first asked the question, H'sberg, immediately popped in my head, it was like Mario 1 and then Mario 2. I don't know why, but like everyone played Super Mario Brothers 2. Everyone played 3 more than 2, right? But people who love 3 eventually played 2, no matter what. And 2 was crap. It was good, but they still played it. But the absolute moneymaker was 3. That's what popped in my head. I don't know if that has anything.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. It's just like another example would be I've met a lot of people in my community and viewers that when I streamed Diablo 4, they would say, "Oh, D4 is actually my first Diablo game," and then they would say when they came back while I was streaming Diablo 2 Resurrected content, say, "Hey, this one actually interests me. I enjoy D4. Like, how similar is it to D2? I think I'm interested in picking up this one as well, and just experiencing this one." You know, and they ask, why should I, or what's good about it, or what's the difference? And of course, they are dramatically different in terms of combat and just basic gameplay and stuff. So yeah, I get the the analogy there. So Barricade, I want to go back to you comparing the numbers there, right? 100, roughly 170,000 to over 400,000, and this is actually going to tie right into segment 2. So I think we'll dive right in. Segment 2 says, will the next PoE2 league be exciting enough to bring players back? And the first talking point for this one is the current state of concurrent player base, right? So we already know that they sold over 1 million EA copies, right? They made a video about it, which is great. So why do you think that less than 500,000, which is, of course, less than 50% of the amount that they sold, probably even close to 60% of the amount of EA copies sold, why didn't they return back for Dawn of the Hunt League? Right? So, what do you guys think about that?
Am I going to start? Okay. So my head looks like a crystal ball, but it's not. I can't tell the future. But here's the thing. There was recently a really cool interview between Chris Wilson and David Brevik, the guy that made Diablo and the guy that made Path of Exile. And one thing that Chris Wilson was talking about was that they know that every time they make like another season of their main game, you're going to get player erosion just by nature, because human beings, we get it's a series of repetition, right? We just keep doing the same thing. Eventually we just kind of get tired of doing that thing, and that's normal. So it's their job as a company to try to produce content that's relevant and exciting for us to engage with. And when you tell people that in Dawn of the Hunt you don't get that druid that we kind of hoped you wanted, people just immediately go like, no thanks. So the number that I think Jonathan mentioned was, it was like 30% of the overall number was like kind of what they were hoping. They got 30% of the number they were hoping for, I believe. So why do I think that number didn't happen? Because it didn't hit for a lot of people. They just didn't get what they wanted out of it. And so the flavor of the soup might be coming for the next season, but who knows? And so Jonathan Rogers is expecting a bigger hit this time for his second release, more so than Dawn of the Hunt did. So they're expecting bigger results. And I think the way they kicked the ball out of the park on this one for PoE1, I agree that they'll see a high number for sure. They will. I believe it, like in my soul, it'll be a higher number.
Well, just a side scratch on that, right? With the whole returning place number 1, like that's just concurrent players, right? So we might have seen way closer to that 1 million copies sold than you think, but you got to remember this is all over the world, that the 1 million copies. So 500,000 could be on this side of the world and 500,000 could be on that side of the world. And as they split, that's just one portion. But on the other task, right, or on the other hand, I have probably about 6 or 7 friends that are not playing Path of Exile 2 anymore because they're waiting for the Druid.
Or early access to come out, right? And be done with that.
Or that too.
Yeah.
Or that too, yeah.
Acts 4, 5, and 6, we've also heard a lot.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. So that's why I thought these particular talking points is great for the segment. So like, it's just, will that next PoE2 league like be exciting, with or without the Druid class coming out? I really think it's important for them to make sure that this Druid class is ready and just give the people what they want. I know how excited I am to play this class. I was really hoping for it to drop with the Huntress, but again, I want to go back to our last episode where we had said the whole Dawn of the Hunt thing is the beginning of something like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, right? Is always what I think about, and then it goes to right Rise of and such, and then Kingdom. So I'm thinking like chapter 1 for the the hunt, the theme of the hunt, Dawn. Maybe the next one we're going to be getting just chapter 2 of this particular theme, and we will get the long-awaited, anticipated Druid.
What's so crazy is like, if you talk about, and you could be totally right. The crazy thing is like, I don't know if you guys feel this or not. If you're in the ARPG genre, like I know many of us are, but if you're listening in or watching in, do you feel that tornado pulling you into grinding gear games in the way that they're going to have 2-month intervals between PoE 1 and 2? Do you feel that pull? Because if you don't, like Hberg, I know you're doing Diablo 2 and that's totally cool, but if you're in that cyclone, it's fucking hard to leave now because bam, for 2 months you're blasting inside PoE2 with this brand new Druid class, and oh my god, this feels amazing, and I'm teaming up, and I got my Ravens doing whatever we talked about. I'm getting chills talking about it, and then bam, PoE1 comes out with another banger. You're like, oh, Zana's storyline continues. Well, okay, I'm kind of getting bored of my Druid class in PoE2, if that's even possible. And now all of a sudden I got to go to this next league. Okay, damn, 2 months went by. Oh my god, now they got these new like, you're screwed. Like, guys, we're in trouble. Like, we got problems, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that's
I do.
1000% the plan, because then
Yeah,
fall off that they did have of those numbers no longer fall off because they pick up in their other game, and then you no longer bored and lose people. Your people are always there because they're always changing things up, no matter what they do.
Especially the long time and veteran player base as well. Like they'll always want to return. But for myself, I'm probably in a separate just criteria here for the players that actually haven't really spent much time at PoE1 at all, but have played a lot of PoE2 so far. So in my case, with the whole 2-month cyclone thing pulling you back in, I would say I'm actually not within that cyclone right now because there's still so much for me to learn about Path of Exile 1. Not that it's I don't really find it intimidating anymore. I certainly got a grasp of it. But comparing my 48 hours in Path of Exile 1 to my 1300 in Path of Exile 2 and how much excitement I have for the new class, I can actually probably last the entire 4-month stretch, even just building 3 or 4 different types of build variants for the Druid itself. And that's just me. So I'm sure I'm not alone in this regard, but I think once I'll probably start to feel that cyclone more when the Druid is released, and we already know they're only going to release 8 classes during the EA, okay, and then we're still waiting for the full release in Act 4, 5, 6. I think maybe during that void, once I've really tackled the Druid and got my fix, I think at that point I'll be able to start going back towards Path of Exile 1 and learning more and becoming better at this game, and then certainly feel the vortex there. Yeah, any other points to add on this one, guys? What'd you say?
As far as retention?
I'll tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's a brilliant marketing strategy from GGG as far as like them dialing it down to not only saying that they're going to rotate 4 months and 4 months, meaning alternating back and forth between 2 months between each segment of a league, right? They're cracking down and they're saying like, we're going to release the content on these days and we're going to hold firm to these dates because that's what brings a lot of trust from the player base, right? It's like, you said you were doing this,
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then when you don't, you're going to get a ton of lashback. So I'm excited.
Yeah, expectations, clashing with, just failed promises, and totally, I agree. It's very important to make sure they have that in check, right? So now with the whole, so just curious here, this is just a quick question for you guys. The low viewership within the Twitch category as a whole, believe it or not, I was on the other day, I can't remember exactly when, and I saw the lowest view count I've ever seen for the channel category for Path of Exile 2 at 178 viewers. Now, out of only 178 viewers in the Twitch category, would you all agree, because this is just my opinion on it, would you all agree that certainly doesn't come anywhere close to reflecting, obviously, the concurrent player base currently? And do you also feel like, if we don't know how many of those Path of Exile 2 players that used to watch that regularly are actually watching Path of Exile 1 at all? They could just be bored with Path of Exile, period. So, this particular question for you guys, how do you feel about the low viewership within the Twitch category as a whole? And do you expect it to exceed over 6 digits of viewers when the new league drops?
I'll go
Speaker,
last.
what do you think?
I'll go last. Yeah, I'll go last. Yeah.
I do, and I think that there, if as a viewer, my thoughts are that there's basically a handful of streamers that you would watch. In all honesty, like you got the top streamers that you would watch. You got King Konger, stuff like that, right? When they swap over to PoE1, that's a majority of the viewership that swaps over with them. So it's like, like Darth, stuff like that. You get that they bring a ton of viewership that just transfers over to PoE1 with them, or D4, or wherever they go.
Totally.
So I do think that when the new league comes out, they'll definitely come back in.
Yeah, I think it will. And in terms of like Twitch is also a great place for exposure and discovery, right? So I believe we hit just over 1.1 million, 1.2 on EA release for the category as a whole. And then I believe the highest I had seen it for Dawn of the Hunts release, I think is just over 400 something thousand again, which is great. And for PoE1's current new league release, I believe I had saw it just roughly over 140k. So I'm expecting to probably be around the same for the new league, which is great because people who may have, again, like Bearkey was saying, after so much time, and we're all adults, people are busy, maybe this next upcoming league might actually be the first time some people are even seeing any content for Path of Exile 2. So I'm hoping it will be pretty revitalizing there. And I think this next league, especially if they confirm that the new class is coming back, we can see a much higher rise in numbers for the Twitch category as a whole, which would be great for all the streamers, of course. Barricade, what are your thoughts here?
I was gonna let Spooker go, then I'm gonna go.
Cool.
If that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's
go
fine.
for
it.
So my thought behind it is, number one, Twitch viewership is probably not even close to
I agree.
deciding like how many players are playing the game, but with a lot of content creators, right, including everyone here, especially in the action RPG genre, when new leagues or new seasons drop, you typically go check that out if it's in your category of games, right? So with PoE1 doing such a banger job for the Mercenary League, it's a lot of people are creating content for that league. So the Twitch viewership for PoE2, because I'm not saying that there's no content to be made in PoE2, but there's no new content, and that's what content creators are really reaching out for, is that new content, bringing something new, bringing more people into their content. And in order to do that, you do have to bounce. So backing to the cycle of the 2 months and 2 months, I absolutely think that when new content drops for PoE2, it's going to skyrocket higher than PoE1 can even come close to as far as viewership. So,
I agree. I'd have to agree. Yeah. Well said, buddy.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Twitch viewership is enthusiastic human beings that share your passion for a game, and is not indicative of overall player-based numbers at all, or anything like that at all. It's not even close. People listening to our podcast are enthusiasts, so thank you guys for listening or watching. Like, the average person has a life. The average person doesn't always get around to just checking out additional content about the game. They just want to go home and game. So to hear 178, it's kind of heartbreaking, because that game deserves a better base number. Like, it just does, right? And that sucks. And if you're like a person like myself, whose income is derived from content like Spooker's mentioning, if I had to make a groundbreaking, earth-shattering, they don't want you to know, Grinding Gear Games Path of Exile 2 video, I don't know what I could tell you that wasn't already discovered. So in the ARPG genre, like he says, like I agree. I'm just going to echo the point a little bit. There's not a reason you'd go search on YouTube to get something brand new, because it's already known, right? The vast majority is already figured out. And that's why the spikes feel so good. Like there's all this brand new stuff. What am I supposed to do? Tell me what to do. And then we're there. All of us, we're all here to help people. Every one of us makes content for people to discover, and hopefully we can connect in a way that matters. So I think that, we've all got this. I think we're all going to get this question for the rest of our lives doing this job. Hey, man, why are you on Path of Exile 2? Is PoE 1 dead? You're like, no, there's just a whole new season of Path of Exile 2. Hey, man, are you done with Diablo 4? It's like, well, no, there's a brand new Path of Exile 2 season. Like, we just lose members along that collision because we're all seasonal guys. We love the season reset, right? Yeah. And so, anyway,
and we're not singular dedicated content creators, right? Like we're not only D4, we're not only D2, we're not only right, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, of course. Yeah, and it's just we also have, you want to keep your content refreshing if that's your particular drive, Again, I actually got the question a lot regarding PoE 1 League and me streaming D2R. A lot of people are saying, "Hey, it's great to see you back on D2R, but do you not like the PoE? Do you not like PoE 1? Why are you not playing the new PoE 1 League?" I was like, "Well, in all honesty, I got to pick my poison here, right? Yeah. I know, again, full-time streaming here, it's how I'm making my money, but at some point I can't just be nitpicking a little bit of this and a little bit of that because I like to actually get invested. And when I have time to really dive back in and sink another 1,000+ hours, or at least reach that hour mark for Path of Exile 1, I will know it, right? I will know when it's there, and that'll be my time. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We do get these questions a lot, yeah.
For the response to that question, when the streamer's like, "You're right, hold on," and pulls up all 5 games at once, like, let's start. Where do you want me to start?
Just playing them all? Yeah.
Multi-boxing master.
And then I'll pick that one.
Yeah. Well, the next talking point we had here, I believe we actually sort of answered both of them, which is great. Just a one little quick point there from our third talking point from this segment. There was a question here that's like, do we feel like the players that are still on Path of Exile 2 are keeping the economy active and people actually interested? And I would say yeah. So again, the viewership for the Twitch category as a whole does not reflect the concurrent player base. But I think people who are still actually playing and probably still played a lot of Path of Exile 1 and didn't go back to the new PoE 1 League, I think it's great to see those players actually keeping their investment for Path of Exile 2, because I'm sure there are still players that are just starting, even right now, for Path of Exile 2 EA and getting involved with the game. Yeah. And it's good. So, when we see these comments saying Path of Exile 2 is dead, or, dead game, boring game, whatever it may be, you'll see them here and there, but that's where they're wrong, because there actually is a lot of people still playing. Even when I hopped in the other day just to clean up some stash and check it out, and just get refreshed. Yeah, the global chat was still ramping. It was very active, and yeah.
Did you try to do a trade?
Actually, no, I didn't. No, I was doing some hardcore solo.
Do you guys know where we're going with this, with the trade question? Okay, so here's the thing.
Go for it.
How much do you think one divine goes for in Path of Exile 2 in a trade for like exalted orbs? How many exalts is one divine in PoE 2 if you had to guess right now?
Last time I was in, it was around 500 something, so I would say 700 plus.
4,000.
Wow.
What are you supposed to do to get 4,000 exalted orbs? What the hell are you supposed to do?
Wow, you're kidding. Okay,
so is the community is the community keeping the trade economy going? I doubt that. It's difficult. This number is from people who are in the community telling me. I haven't logged in. I've been logging in PoE 1 Blast, but I knew it was 1,000, and then I got sent screenshots of 4. So I hope I'm being sent like an April Fool's joke, but that's what I understand to be the nature. So like, that's tough. Like that's tough, right? Like that's
that's brutal.
When you said, if you would have said 1,000.
I know. Yeah.
But 4,000?
Probably high. It's probably higher now. Like
that is like seeing stuff like that is like kryptonite for new players and casual players.
RMT, baby. That's what that says.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like the RMT side. It's like it's not accessible for new players to get that thing. But then we talk about this, and I'm not going to like diatribe here. You can't really expect someone to be able to accumulate that much wealth. Christ, I couldn't do it. This is my job. None of us could. Like you had to be in there when the getting was good, or you're screwed. So I
haven't accumulated 1,000 exalts in the whole time played.
Right.
I'll tell you that 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How is that?
Well, because the market sets the rate, right? And when there's less people and you have something very good, you're going to pay a lot for that.
Yes.
Wow,
but
that's mind blowing. 4,000. Hey, thanks for pulling that up. It's, like I said, when I was on last, it was 570 something exalted per divine, and that's just insane to me.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong about that stat, but if
It's
they were right, then.
8 times more than that now. That's crazy.
When I logged on to
now it's 6
PoE2.
million each.
What? Go ahead. What?
I was just thinking, like, put it in an IRL aspect, and you've got 10 people standing on a road. There's only 4 houses. Oh, okay. Well, then they're 6 million each house, 1 bedrooms. Like, you're just like, oh, okay.
But it's a nice room, though.
I'll take a room.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, okay. Good points there for sure, and that's really cool to put that in perspective, but also just mind blowing and very, very eye opening. So we're gonna hop into segment 3 here. So this one is relatively short.
Just can't.
It's updates
gotta
on the
keep it
new
going,
Druid
right?
class. Yeah, of
I was
course.
gonna check.
Updates on the new Druid class here. Our talking point is there has been no recent news or teasers regarding its release. Again, like I don't think I was searching for probably about 10 or 20 minutes, look through the forums, nothing. But so my question for you guys is, are we still hopeful it will arrive with the new league? Because I'm begging them practically here, and I am definitely staying hopeful. And we know Jonathan has been saying he doesn't want to talk too much about the new class because he is excited for the element of surprise, right? With all the streamers and the players' reactions. So I totally get it. So what do you guys think? Do you still think it's going to release with the new season? Reaper, what do you think?
Look, I think there's only 2 options. I think it's Druid or Templar. I don't think there's any other option.
Well, they did.
But what?
Well,
what makes you
they
think
did
that?
say,
though?
yeah.
That's just what from the people I talked to, such as Spooker, such as Barricade, they're give me the Templar right now. Give me the Druid right now. It's like those are the majority of people, right? Like that talk, like they speak for their people and their community as well. So it's like, and to me, as a new player, looking at the characters that I can make, the tunes I could look forward to coming out, I myself look forward to Templar and Druid. So like that's where I'm like, okay, if you want to hit the nail, and you've already made us wait, and you want to keep your secrets and don't let too much out so it'll be a surprise, it's going to be Templar or Druid. That's my thoughts.
Okay, I just want to make a quick point here, Spooker. Sorry. So the only thing is that I'm almost guaranteed that the Templar is not coming is because even in the earlier release videos, when they're even explaining, like its original just teaser or announcement trailer for Path of Exile 2 EA, in regards to normal and cruel, we're not getting 4, 5, 6 in EA. It just goes from Act 1, 2, 3, normal and cruel, yada yada.
Right.
They did mention that Huntress and Druid will be featured in the EA, and we also saw those class gameplay demos from Crip as well. Actually, he has a video on YouTube of Druid gameplay and some other channels, and those were during before the release of EA as well, right?
Yep.
So they were all brought there to play that and experience it privately, and then when they got the green light, they uploaded it to YouTube. So I'm almost certain we won't be getting Templar in the EA at all. We are all very excited for it. I think it's going to be a polished, beautiful class to play.
I think it's more likely to be Druid. I do agree with that, but I would if there were 2 options for me to say what they could do, those would be my 2. But I do think Druid would be the
It
one.
would be a huge curveball surprise. Yeah, I'd say, psych! The Templar is the new Druid.
Yeah, that would be
Psych,
crazy.
it's the
That's what I
Marauder.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they?
What do you think though, Spook? Yeah, what do you think?
I think that given that the 2 new classes, right? Because outside of the 2 new classes being the Huntress and the Druid, all the other classes are relatively returning, right? As far as the general category of classes from Path of Exile. So I think it would be best for them to launch those 2 first, just because of EA and testing purposes, to get all those gimmicks and newness kinks out of the hose to get that water flowing through smoothly before a said launch does happen. Because I know we talked about there's no way that they can hit their launch date that they aimed for of 1 year, right? But they've also...
we'll be talking about that soon.
True, but they also have said that they would potentially be willing to launch the game without all the classes in it. So...
Right.
Not that...
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up, yeah. Which honestly I wouldn't mind. Like I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind either, and I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily mind, because then the old, or not old, but the new players that are coming into Path of Exile, which have no Path of Exile 1 experience, still have some newness to look forward to after a said free launch, right? So there's still new characters to them. It may not be new to us being PoE 1 veterans coming into PoE2, but it'll still be a new class and be vibrant and newness to all these new players, and give reasons for them to come back to another new league or new content drop.
Since you're saying not new to us thing, it made me think of I had a brain fart. Why don't
that was awesome. That was
we
great.
can smell it from here.
With new, not returning, new characters, new tunes.
Right, that's the new classes for Path of Exile, is the Huntress and the Druid.
Those are like a subclass to me.
Well, you mean like, subclass as in not a part of the original classes from PoE 1?
No, I mean like
they're bringing to PoE 2?
Are being brought into PoE2, right?
Yeah.
But okay, we have a warrior, we have a Templar, we have this, we have that, right? Like the what they added with like the Huntress is like they just added a subclass of a class they already had, right?
No, the Huntress is like brand new. There's nothing like it in PoE 1.
Huntress is brand new.
Okay.
And the Druid, of course, as well. Yeah. Now, again, the ones that aren't would be...
They don't have a Druid in PoE 1?
No, that's why there's a lot of hype for it.
Okay, then what I just said that's the answer. That's what, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, of course, fair.
I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, so the whole PoE 2.0 thing, right? Like, why do we have the same characters? Let's make a whole new. Now I have a bear, like, but it's not a druid; it's a bear. Like,
so sick.
You know what I mean?
Wait.
Like, but now that you just said no, they don't have those. We are okay. I get it.
It makes sense now. Gotcha. Yeah, no,
you're not knowledgeable on that.
And that's fine. That's kind of why I brought it to the table, was because I think that's probably their move, is to launch these two new classes, which they have to work out, because a lot of mechanics that we've seen are shared or very similar between PoE 1 and PoE 2. So it's only fair to believe that they're going to bring new things into PoE 2 to test them sooner, because the more testing time they have, the more smooth of a launch they can have when they actually drop it for these millions of players to drop in and test and play for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kate, I remember in our last episode you had mentioned you are not particularly that excited for the Druid, but of course you're going to play it. So I think the question I have for you, which might retain to a lot of other players as well, you are really enjoying the Mercenaries League. When the new league for PoE2 drops, I'm sure you're going to want to play it just because it's a new league, period. It's refreshing, right? It's what's in. But would you even care to start the new league as a Druid, as a player who's not really excited for the class?
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
It would depend. So I played a lot of Magic the Gathering before. And here we go, Spooker, more Magic talk. But I played a lot of Magic the Gathering before I ever got into like big Diablo, like big ARPG stuff. And the reason I'm saying this is that every time a new set of cards comes out for Magic, everybody's like, you got to check out this new card. It's so overpowered, right? And when Druid comes out, or the Huntress came out, everyone's like, yo, this new ascendancy, so overpowered. It's like what people, in my experience, like I'm no different. Like I see things, I get excited, but it's overpowered in a vacuum. It's not overpowered relative to all the other content coming out with it. So I could potentially play a druid if what I see seems desirable in its ascendancy. What the weapon is, if it even brings one to the game, might be more intriguing for me on a warrior per se, or from a witch perspective per se. That would be a little bit more appetizing for me. I don't need to have a bear on my screen. I don't mind it. It just doesn't make me go ooh la la. So I'm down for druid gameplay. The conversation of birds picking up monsters and throwing them against the wall because they're huge, like that's cool. I think that could be interesting, and I applaud Grinding Gear games and their creative direction on what they do with spells. I got to see it first. I try not to like get excited for the meal before I know what it's gonna taste like and like what it's made of. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fairly put.
But I will stop Path of Exile 1 the day PoE2 comes out. I can promise you that. I will.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah.
Quick side note on that, right? If by some miracle, like we don't know what class is dropping, right? Or if a class is even dropping. We assume, but we don't know.
Correct. We don't know. Right.
But one quick what if question specifically towards you, Barricade. What if they drop Templar and Righteous Fire? Would you dive right into the Righteous Fire path again?
I will be sizzling the gates of hell on that Templar. You bet your sweet cheeks. There's not a question about it. I'll be in Pox's DMs going like, "Are you ready?" As will the rest of the world. Are you ready to sizzle, brother? And we'll see what happens, because I'm gonna cook up a full screen wide AOE, Righteous Fire, teleporting, lightning warp, I'm gonna send that guy to the stratosphere in 2 seconds. Is what I would try to do, and that's it.
That's what I want to hear.
Yep. I think we can all agree that Templar is one of the most anticipated classes for all of us to try. Anything that's Crusader / Paladin, alike. Oh yeah, that was like unreal. And yeah. Honestly, the great points, guys. Yeah, cheers. I think that kind of tackles everything there. Like I said, it was a bit of a shorter segment there, and I do want to also start talking about segment 4. Which is what kind of new mechanics or Atlas activities can we expect in the next PoE2 League, or maybe, of course, these are all predictions,
Mm-hmm.
So, for a talking point, like introducing any Atlas content like PoE1, bringing in things like Lab and Heist and such. Do you think the devs are ready in Path of Exile 2 to introduce things like this?
Yes.
Yep.
Give me 60 seconds, and then we can go. 60 seconds.
No problem. So with that gap here, I do want to mention, we saw even in the Dawn of the Hunt, they brought in, fractured orbs already, stuff like that, and the new extra unique maps, even like the Lake of Calandra and all the other stuff too. And I believe people, there's a couple people in my chat, a lot of PoE1 veterans that kept screaming, lab, give us lab. It's got to be lab. All right, so I'm hoping we can see this in the next league for PoE2, and my personal opinion is I am 50-50. I'm not doubting them. I wouldn't be surprised if they still need to polish some things, and it might even be in the next league within PoE2's EA duration. So yeah, I'm hopeful for it, because again, I haven't had a chance to experience it in PoE1, Lab or Heist, and I just hear great feedback from it. I know it's a lot of people's favorite Atlas content besides Breach, so I think that would also be really good for either new players or returning players as well. Yeah, that would be a huge draw.
What was that?
Yep. Sorry?
Which content were you referring?
So people, Lab and Heist, like the Atlas content there from Path of Exile.
I missed the Heist part. Sorry. Yeah.
It won't even take a minute, but just what we already know from previous podcast interviews and stuff is that Jonathan already said they already have the models made for PoE2. So when this is like oftentimes forgot, when people talk about the Atlas of Path of Exile 2 and how boring the endgame is, it was a afterthought of production cycle to give us something in the early access experience that was beyond campaign. So they already have like when you're playing Path of Exile 2 and you're doing Breach, you don't fight Esh, you don't fight Zesh, or so you only fight Zesh, you don't fight Cheola, you don't fight all these other Breach bosses that already exist. You don't do the endgame content that they have models for. Every subzone in PoE2 is going to have a boss. That's their intention. Like, we want this. Like Hberg, when I watched you fight that witch, and I wasn't telling you, I wasn't going to tell you what that freeze. I wanted you to experience that, right? But that moment you will never forget. And like those boss moments, we will all never forget. That's what they want to give us. And so that's coming.
Yeah.
Will it come next season? Don't rush it, please. Get it right, because it was so awesome to do it. The first time when that plant pulls up his chaos stuff and takes me down, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So they have the models. They just need the time to animate it, put the rigging together, get the audio cues, get the gear behind it. Their goal is to have like that experience. And that's for the end game too. Like it was put there. It's just in development. And that's my only point there. That's all I wanted to say is it's on the way to be flushed out. And if you want any direction of what they can do, look at PoE 1. They can go that crazy, but I don't think they will. What do you guys think?
Go to Reaper.
No, I have no real thoughts on this.
Oh, come
To be
on.
honest, I love Heist, and I hope it comes. But I agree with Barricade 100%. They should just do it right, and when it comes out, it'll come out correct, and we'll be happy with it.
Yep.
I completely agree, which is why I'm not the only one for sure. I already know that for a fact. But I believe I would rather you delay your content. I know this is against what they've just currently or recently said, is that they don't want to delay, they want to actually get it out. But they also did say that if it's not ready, it just won't come. So they're not going to rush it. So that's also a good news from my standpoint, because I'm the same way. It's like I would rather have a perfectly working archetype of something rather than have something that I don't know if this works or that works, but throw it in there and we'll test it, right? I'm wholeheartedly with the let's get it right the first time and then get it out there. And obviously there's going to be bugs with things here and there just because that's just developing and coding nature. But
yeah,
I definitely do agree with the let's get it right and take the time to do it properly.
Yeah, polish over pace, right? Like how we talked about before. Polish over pace, and especially to avoid, a cyberpunk type of epidemic there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, with
we
that
all
being
know how that went.
Yeah, exactly. With that being said, the one thing I would love to see come to PoE2 is Blight. I love my tower defense.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. And so Lab, Heist, Blight. What other end game Atlas activities are in Path of Exile 1 that we don't see in Path of Exile 2 so far? Is it just those three?
Ooh, there's quite a bit. Like every season had something, right? So you had like synthesized maps that exist. You have the Maven encounters, the Searing Exarch. You've got Eater of Worlds bots content. You have altars which is boss influence that comes into affect you. You have the Shaper. You have the Elder. You've got the Guardians of every one of those bosses except for synthesized.
That's already 10.
And I'm just getting started.
Yeah,
And then there's the Scarab system, which impacts how you roll the Atlas nodes or the map nodes that you would use. But I'll just go to the limb. We don't want that. Again, we have that. Give that to me in that modern, fresh take where you combine things. That's what PoE 2 can be. And then we've seen already in Path of Exile 1's new league how awesome it is when they test in PoE 2, what that feels like in PoE 1. It's dopamine inducing. It's very enjoyable. So I'll leave that there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. Remove me from Blight. Throw me into a simulation of just RTS tower defense. Blight. Let's go.
There you go. Yeah, classic. So, moving on to our next point, we've seen like amazing feedback. And again, I am not a current player, but I've been watching a lot of it just to learn more and just stay up to date. And I've seen just nothing but great feedback here regarding this whole Mercenaries thing. People are loving it. It's fun. It's a great new mechanic. It's just got, it's checking off all the boxes, right? 10 out of 10 IGN review. Yeah. If you know what I mean. So is Mercenaries something that, including the PoE 1 players here, and for those who are watching, is Mercenaries something you'd like to see in PoE 2 as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And so Mercenaries, again, excuse my ignorance here, but is Mercenaries also a companion you can have, and it's also others that you're fighting in your Atlas maps, sort of like Rogue Exiles?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Very cool. All right. So then the second part to that question is, if we have Mercenaries as well, because there's already a lot of just stale talk regarding, I don't want to say hating on, but it's pretty damn close, regarding minion builds and being too OP, too cheese, too easy, whatever it is. Do you think Mercenaries in PoE2 would be too much on top of minions, specters, and companions? Like Tame
No.
Beast and such. And right?
No, I
Could be
think
easy.
I think that Mercenaries, if done properly, just like minions, if done properly, it should be exciting and engaging and fun, right? And that's the problem, in my opinion, with a lot of minion builds in a lot of action RPGs, is that people play the minion style play with I just follow my minions and they do all the work, when there's so much more to
Yeah.
them that you can do. You don't have to play that way. You can play an engaging minion build.
In Diablo 2, if I'm a summon necro, when I get my merc set up, I have him buff my minions, right? That's what should be the case in PoE2. The cool thing about PoE2 is your minions can open your doors, they can open loots for you. Like, the AI isn't terribly insane. It's actually not
Yeah.
great how many of your monsters sit in a tight corridor and don't actually do anything. But like, if that gets fixed, like, minions have their own problems, but Mercenaries I don't think is a complex layer. It makes it more fun. It gives that archetype even more depth, which is never really a bad thing, because the game's designed to be for like the newcomer for ARPGs. So if they do it right, like you said, Spooker, I agree. It should be well. It should be well received. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. I think it would be something I would definitely love to try. Now,
It's so fun.
Yeah, that was my main. I would say that was my main FOMO for the new PoE1 League, in regards to me actually being really excited to dive back in D2R, because I took a couple seasons off. I said, if anything, out of the low amount of hours that I did play on PoE1, I still think I would love the feeling of the D2, like the D2 OG just the whole relative feeling to have a merc with me rolling beside me in PoE1, just like my other favorite game too, right? So I personally think it'd be great if they bring mercs into Path of Exile 2.
Dude, I'm using an AoE build, right?
Yeah.
Right, Spooker? I'm using an AoE build. My
Mhm.
merc kills it before I get to it. That's how much
Yeah,
AoE
beautiful.
it does. It's like, what the hell? Like, you're not even supposed to be doing that, but it just does. So naturally, I'm like, okay, if it's going to kill it all, let's put some rarity on that. Let's get it to drop more burr runes. It's like, all right. And that's kind of working out. I'm like, all right, kind of nice, right?
I think
Yep.
that's why the Mercenary League hits so good for us specifically, Barricade, is that it's that Diablo 2 mercenary
Yes.
power feeling.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's just so good, because I'm doing a similar strat. I'm basically converting a lot of my my physical damage to lightning. And then I'm going to put it on Doriani's prototype on my mercenary.
Which is why you needed that amulet.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I get it now. Yeah. So what he's doing is, if you're around his merc, he's giving you conviction aura. We all know what that means in Diablo, right? He's now
Yeah.
got the conviction guy. So for me, like, I didn't have this before. On Righteous Fire, I'm killing myself every second with fire, and I out heal the kill. And then that's it. That's basically the idea, right? But now with these mercenaries, I can give myself determination aura, so like sanctuary aura, and I can give myself vitality, which would be like prayer. I just get that now. So it's like, oh, so now to achieve my end game clear, which is kind of difficult before if I didn't know how to craft, it's like I don't have those problems anymore. And by the way, there's this guy that's like attacking quick, nuking, like, he's doing great work. He's doing the Lord's work for me. So I'm just blessed up. That didn't exist. And so the items to fuel that build for the mercenary are expensive to get and cool to obtain. And the enjoyment of playing with that is awesome. And then I team up with Spooker. We run a map together, and all of a sudden I have conviction. It's like, oh, like, you're all just done, right? It's all jokes. So it's so fun. That's the FOMO. Like, what the FOMO you talking about, Hberg, though? You
Yeah.
didn't miss early days. Early days, these guys were one-shotting your ass. They were sending you back to the lobby. Like, they hit so hard. It was like
They still do at times.
Yeah. Emilio wouldn't punch the bag. He'd knock the bag through the wall until the whole apartment, he's ready to rock. Like, that was going on.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah, I
like,
hear
oh
ya.
my God. And so one guy would have like the best piece of gear you need for your build. You're like, let's go. And next thing you know, it's face down, cheeks up in the air. It's like, wave the flag. It was brutal.
Womp womp.
Yeah, they fixed that now. Like, imagine in Diablo 2, before you fight, Diablo, you hit all the seals, and bam, this guy shows up. This Herodrim shows up, and he's like, I will challenge you for your gear. You're like, okay, let's play Pink Slips. That's the coolest thing. And Path of Exile has that every map you run. You're like, okay, big guy, let's see what you got. And then he lays you down. You're like, but I could have had it. I could have had the thing. It's like, you would have never had this. It's like, it's so fun, right? Anyway.
Yeah, honestly, very, very cool concept. Yeah, I love what
Yeah.
they did there. And I guess in my in my aspect here in relation, it would be the Rogue Exiles. And when I watched the video when they introduced all that, it was a really cool concept to me. I think that's great.
So fun.
Yeah, Reaper, what do you think? Is that something you would actually look forward to, or
From what
do you
I've
think
seen,
do you think it's overkill?
no. From what I've seen, I would absolutely like it to make its way over
Mhm.
because it looks really fun. I haven't had any hands-on experience, but to watch
Yeah.
it done is amazing.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure thousands out there would agree with all of our points
When
here
you
and
get
our
that
excitement.
insight, when you get that insight aura for your
Oh
character
yeah.
in Diablo, you know exactly what we're talking about. That's what
Oh
they
yeah.
did for Path of Exile. It's like, wow, you gave me
Quality of
insight
life.
aura. So sick. I can just
Yeah.
play.
But they put a twang on it too, right? Because not
Yeah.
only do you get to have them on your side, it's like now I have to fight them too and see how powerful they can actually be too.
And I can only have 3, which is sweet, right? I have to make a choice now. It's like, well, that guy had that skill. I'd like to know what that's like. Because what are the odds of finding that guy again? Like that mercenary, I may never. It's like
They're unique. That's the cool
Yeah.
thing. Like every single one is unique with their skill set, their skill choices. Now, obviously, you can put gear on them, but their actual like gem setups, maybe they have one aura, maybe they have 2 auras. You know,
That's
so
right.
it's a roll of the dice. But like you
Yep.
said, that's another cool thing is that we do get 3 instead of 1. So like another little twang from Diablo 2. It's just
Have you
it's so
found your
good.
perfect merc yet? Like the one you would want? Have you found it?
I'm settling on a strength. I can't remember. It's a strength int one because I want my
Okay.
guy to dual wield axes, so he works. But no, I'm looking for a double aura one.
I have not found mine either. Okay, I was curious. Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Awesome.
And
Awesome,
yeah.
guys. Yeah. Definitely keep the excitement flowing, right? Super cool, man. Our next segment here is actually going to be our last for the episode, so I guess I'll just dive right into it. And some of these talking points again will be. I have 4 here for the segment for you guys, but most of them will be kind of just conjugated into one. So segment 5 here, I'm asking: is PoE2's full release going to launch within their originally intended time frame, which they first said around 8 to 10 months? Now I know predictions as to if it will or won't. I already know your answers, of course, but I would like to hear them again, and I'm sure our viewers would like to hear them. So, do we think it's going to launch the full game within their originally intended time frame? Go ahead, just shoot. What do you guys think?
No.
Short,
Yeah.
short answer, I'm gonna say no, but I have a little bit more strong opinion on the fact because I'm still kind of 50-50 up in the air because I keep reverting back to the statement of we still may potentially launch without all the classes being ready. So I'm still kind of, will the game be complete when they launch to free? Because launch is free, right? Launch is when it becomes free. It's no longer EA, right? So if they launch it and it becomes free without the classes, then right, the answer is yes. But if they don't and they decide, no, we're going to hold off, we're going to still leave it in early access, then the answer is, obviously no, it doesn't meet that time constraint. So I'm still up in the air because I could definitely see them pushing it to the free to get more hands-on players into the game because there are a lot of people that are just waiting for that free.
Yeah, there are a lot. I've seen this comment many times. And again, just to put 1 second, Reaper. I was going to say actually, just to put in perspective, next month marks the 8-month mark, and then the 10-month would be 2 months after that, which then we know should be the next PoE1 League release. So they're busy, right? And it's a good busy. Reaper, what do you think?
So my thought is I hope they don't make it the deadline because they have so much more to put in and do it the right way. My kind of thought on it on a business side of it is last time they had just a minuscule thing that was thought they lied about stuff and did this and that, and they had so much kickback from everybody that I hope that they just don't push into the business side and pleasing the crowd by not lying.
Yeah, don't
But
crumble under pressure, sort of thing.
Right.
yeah, but
Yeah.
also if they are, then if they are going to miss the deadline, then they can
It's
combine
for
it
a good
enough
reason.
to please the crowd and be honest and open about it and let people know, because that's what's going to get them in hot water. But that's just the business side of things. But I do think that they should delay it no matter what, because they don't have the time to crunch everything, and it would
Yeah.
make for a worse product.
You say
So,
that, but you don't know how much is actually ready behind the scenes. Just saying.
No,
yeah, again, all speculation, right? All
It is.
speculation.
It's
but
all speculation.
one thing to another point to mention though, with your whole the whole business side of things. Again, there's we're going back to the whole cyberpunk epidemic there. Yes, because they had
Right.
CD Projekt Red is much larger than GGG's team. But the positive side of this is that GGG is like those guys, like
Yeah.
they are the entire panel, the entire board. There is no uppers, right? There are no financial restraints here or pressure and deadlines to be made. So they have full control over their dates, their release, their deadlines, and I'm pretty sure Jonathan has already mentioned this in many different ways, but they're not worried about feeling the pressure of getting it out, right? Polish over pace. Again, we're going to mention. So yeah, the last point, ultimately, I also think no, they will not hit it within 8 to 10 months, and I am not surprised, and I'm not disappointed if it even goes all the way until December, a full year of EA. And
Well, they did say 6 to 12, right? Like that was one of their main their starters. I don't remember the 8 to 10. I'm not saying it didn't happen, or I never heard that. The only time frame I heard was 6 months to a year. That's all
I
do
vividly remember Jonathan saying we're expecting the EA to last roughly about 8 months or more. Yeah,
Okay.
and the
Cool.
Q&A interview there. But I did also I heard 6 to 12 as well.
Well, I mean, there's so
Yeah.
much information out there on all these different topics too. You just not a
Yeah.
single person can consume every bit of information and knowledge from every aspect of the corners of the interwebs. So
Yeah. I mean, like it leads into the next question here, guys. Like, are we okay with the concept of full release being off schedule? We basically just answered that. Of course, we are okay with it.
Mhm.
It would be for a good reason. But the next question is like, how long are we okay with playing the EA version, and will players become too bored by then? Like,
if they do their
But how-
job right, like they said they're trying to, with a 4-month rotation on content drops, I don't see player retention or new players coming to the game being an issue, as long as they're dropping some solid content every 4 months, even if
Right.
it's not full game or full access.
yeah,
I agree.
eh,
And I
yeah.
think any type of retention. Look, I've said this many times. These devs are on another level, and anybody who complains about them, okay, step your ass away from this game and go play something else, and then we'll see how fast you turn around.
Patience.
It's just like,
Yeah, patience for sure. Patience is important, man, for any game with EA, especially with just the overall expectation of the gaming industry today and within the ARPG genre. Like, everybody's always expecting more and more and more, and they want it now, and yesterday. So there's certainly going to be people saying, "Oh, they're just taking way too long. The game's never going to fully launch. Game's dead. It's bored. There's nothing new, right? We only got 8 classes. I'm tired of these 8 classes. I'm tired of the same builds, the same meta over and over." Of course, we're probably going to see these comments, but I still think it will be within a time frame where, well, the game is never going to be dead. So I do want to say that before the next point, but I do not think it'll be too long to a point where players will become so bored that they have no interest coming back. I said, well, it's still going to be the same game. There's just 4 new classes with, maybe only 2 meta builds for each. So like, it still all just feels the same to me. I'm not interested in the Shadow. I'm not interested in the Duelist, et cetera, et cetera. But for myself, like I'm okay with, like I was just saying before, how long are we okay with playing the EA version? I'm okay with 12 months plus, to be honest with you, right? And even if they do release new ascendancies before the game fully releases, even better. There's more build variety in this. There's still going to be a lot of content and gameplay experience to tackle. There's still going to be a lot of hours there, right, to be played.
If it's your type of game, right, and you
That's right.
enjoy Path of Exile 2, and they consistently drop new content every 4 months, I'm okay with them extending it as long as they need to do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, what's the difference between now and after they release? They're still going to have the same new content coming out all the time, always getting a better game out there, always having a better experience. The only thing is right now you pay to be a part of a group that could test it, be active in the community, and be a part of the player group early, or you wait and get it free. There's no other difference. You're still going to get great product, great quality, great drops, like from a great development team. The only thing is waiting for it to be free.
Yep. And then you can spend money on it anyways.
Exactly.
Yep. Stash tabs, people.
Now, it's the same money you'll spend then. 100,000% guaranteed. No question.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Barricade, any points to chime in on this?
Yeah, I got a few. So like the board player conversation, I think people do it to themselves. If you find the game boring, oftentimes you're a meta player, you look for a build guide, you try to find out what's the most OP, and your season's done in a week. You did it to yourself. I don't have any sympathy for you. The most fun I have in this game genre is when I have to discover the challenge for myself and figure out what I want to do to beat it. And I try to do that myself. Far too many times do we rely on somebody else's expertise to get us across the finish line. And my question is, why did you care about the finish line? Didn't you care about the race? The race is the fun one, right? The gates open, the league starts, and away you go.
That's
and
the
so
rush.
it's the rush. And like, I understand meta. I get it. I understand it. I know why people do it. I make guides. I shortcut people's experience on purpose because they have a life and they don't have the time that I have. And I get all that. So I don't care that people, I shouldn't say that. I do care that you're bored. I care less about why when you take the shortcut. I know what's going to happen for you, right? I know the game's going to make you feel burnt out because you go 14 hours a day, 3 days straight. You play the economy and you beat the game in 3 days. That's not what this game tries to be. It tries to be more for you. And so to Reaper's point, what's going to change when the game comes out? Well, people can still do this, but the difference is 50 new monsters, 3 new acts, all cosmetics carried over from Path of Exile 1 to 2 and 2 to 1, and vice versa every 2 months. And so while it is, by the way, a free game, both games are free 1 and 2, holy shit, it's like you also get to appreciate your dollar going further in both products. So I think that enjoying what all those different aspects, three different ascendancies per class have to offer, instead of trying to find out how to sprint through the race, will be exciting. And so that's what I'm looking. Even if I don't love the Druid, I will eventually be covered in hair, flying around the screen like everybody else, because that's the journey I want to take. So, am I willing to wait for that? Yeah, absolutely. Just because I care more about the journey than the finish line. Yeah, and that's it. That's my thoughts. Yeah.
That so populates in my head Diablo 4. Didn't they bring that specific thing? This is probably back early when it was still relatively new, where they were like, we want this piece to be part of your journey, right? And you adjust this piece. And now that I think about it, it's like, what are they doing? GGG has nailed the I can take this piece of gear on a journey from the very beginning all
you're
the
talking
way to
about
the pinnacle bossing.
You're talking about the item journey with like the masterworking tempering system.
Yes, yeah.
It's season 9 in Diablo 4, and they have missing monster name. That's why I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game for that reason. Okay, the amount of passion, I don't see it. The direction, I don't love it. This is not what we're talking about today, but I see the difference in the game I choose to play, which is currently PoE 1, right? I didn't load up a mercenary in a map called Hugo Von Missing Title Name. It's there. That's his name. That's what he does. Like it's polished by people that, anyway, seem to care. So that's my thoughts on that so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a fair point to bring up. Yeah. And I mean, like last question I have for you guys here is, how many more leagues do we expect within PoE2 before the game is fully released? Because we're going into the third one, right? And approximately next month. So if we're not hitting it within the 8 to 10 months, which you already know is not going to happen, but by the time we even reach December, I think by math, we'd already be seeing
By math.
4. Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, our best
Eureka!
prediction tool.
Underway.
So I would say I would probably say anywhere between 4 and 5 leagues before full release.
I would
Okay.
say after League 4, it's coming out.
Yeah, that's I'm hoping. Yeah, I think if there were
So-
to be League 5, that would be technically, So sorry, we have next month there.
But next month is what?
August.
Are we considering the league like what we already have leagues, or are we considering like from
Yeah,
here
so-
on?
From here on, so kind of both. So next month is going to be League 3, number 3, in August. So
Okay,
month
okay.
8, and then it'd be 4 months to then. So that is the 12-month
5
mark would
easy.
mark League 4. So my prediction is, if we do make it all the way till December, 12-month, and we still don't have an announcement yet or a date for the game's full release, I think it would follow after League 4, which would technically begin in December, and then we'd be getting it April 2026.
I agree with that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Because if we're counting before, then yeah, I agree with you on 5. But if we're counting like from here on out, it's like we'll probably see 2 more, and then it'll probably launch on the 3rd, which would be the same thing that you just said.
Hopefully, Druid season comes out. Then bugs are being polished, stuff behind the scenes, animations being made, items being polished, right? Then the 4th season comes out. Here's your base class, whatever. More polish, and all the cosmetic team gets in finally. And Merry Christmas. We have a deadline for you. It's game coming out, blah. Huge news. So that's
Yep.
why I say that. but-
Hallelujah.
yeah, that's why I say that. But I could be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Exactly. You'd be singing it in your head.
Timeline,
you know?
and then
Yep.
like add a month to it just to be buffered.
It's gonna be wild,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. It will be wild to say
Wild,
the least, man. It is going
bumpy,
to be
rocky wagon road.
very
and
ramping.
I'm ready for
Yeah.
every rock we hit.
Yeah.
When the entire world gets to cross-play a Path of Exile experience, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
And like it was the
it's gross.
fastest selling game on Steam, right? No, that's not true. The highest selling game on Steam when it was in early access. They shattered their user records that they expected. Like they blew through it. What are you talking about? This game's gonna and it's free now. And,
Yep.
Oh fuck! This
Oh
game's
yeah.
gonna take
Yeah.
off.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know
It's
We're
like
gonna
how,
be busy.
I know
it's like
we're
how do you
short
not
on
hop
time.
on board?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know we're short on time, but I do have to bringing up numbers and things like that too, right? With what happened in the PoE1 league start, where console was like shut down for how long?
Yeah,
Dude,
it was like a day, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
It
yeah.
was
Oh
crazy.
man. Feels bad, man.
With that,
Fucked
with
up.
that side note, what do you guys think about those potential issues if they do drop Druid? Because we know the mass majority of people ready to play are excited for Druid. Like that's been the thing all over the PoE forums and Reddit and all that. Like Druid, we want Druid.
So you're saying, like, what do we think will happen, or the feedback if the Druid does drop for the next league, and then consoles are having issues with servers, they can't log in, right? Is that essentially
That's what I'm
asking?
saying. Like,
I think it's going to be pretty damaging to the console player base, because this is not a shot here, right? This is not supposed to be derogative, but I think there's a lot of console players that are casual, right, for these kinds of games. And I think the way the current trading economy is in currency exchange, that is already such a turnoff for many casual players, saying, "Oh, I can't sit here and expect to, get 300 exalted for 1 divine, and this next piece of gear I need is 20 divines." So I think they're just going to say, "Wow, by the time we get to play, the market's already going to be so wrecked, or just so bloated, that I don't really see a point in playing, because I'm just going to be chasing something, like a Twinkie attached to a stick on a hat, right?" And I just think it's a lot of players are going to find it just a huge turnoff, essentially. But I personally think that's not going to happen. I think they've probably worked out all those kinks, because
Well, I think
what's up?
it's possible. What you're saying makes sense because it's happened.
it happened on
Okay.
PoE2 as well, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They canceled
Definitely.
some rate the start race or something for PoE2.
But if
They had
it's
to do a
not
second
coming-
race in PoE1. Yeah.
If
Right.
this auction house
Oh, okay.
is sold, that could prove amazing for console players, especially for farming, like I brought up before, and stuff like that. And their counterparts to PC players being like, "Hey, I'm going to farm all this gear, buddy, on my PC. Can you give me this gear that I want to craft?" Kind of helps the situation, I think. But
Yeah, it would.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So it's a
the accessibility. What?
huge detriment to the console guys getting locked out. No question about it. Really bad
yeah.
for PR. I don't think it's any surprise to say people just want a reason to bitch and moan nowadays, which I'm not one of them, but everybody wants a reason to complain. So if the servers go down, that's another reason to like pull out the dynamite and let it rip, right? So I think that the company should do everything in its power to make sure the infrastructure is ready when it already surpassed its expectations. Like that's
Yeah.
fine. Be ready for the next wave that you're not ready for. How do you do that, right? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not in the business, but I hope for their sake that they have a sublime rollout so that people on console and PC anywhere across the world who play Path of Exile 2 get the best experience possible so they could understand what we felt when we played it. Because a lot of us are quite forgiving in that we would put up with the BS and we just fire on a stream or something and let the time kind of go by until we're ready to play. So I hope that they're ready to go. Will it be bad? Oh, you bet. You better believe it's gonna be burning, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like you
then
said, it would be dynamite.
yeah, and then people start playing the Druid. They're like, "Damn, this is fun." And then that feeling's not so bad. But yeah, worth it. Yeah, worth the wait. yeah. True.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, very very well said. Well said. Everything. I think we had a lot of great topics here today and good feedback, predictions, expectations, excitement, and I guess just going into our at this particular point here, folks, it's our echoes or / conclusion here. So overall, we're hoping the next league for PoE2 does launch next month. It should be on track as per their 2-month schedule. It is definitely going to be exciting enough to bring players back, and the Twitch, category viewership, 100%. We're all on board with this. And updates on the new Druid class. We may not have anything so far, but we can all agree that the anticipation, the excitement for its release is still there. We're just hoping to get at least something soon because we are a month away from the next league. Yes, it would be great if we can have some sort of updates or even confirmation that it's coming. Maybe even a little short video teaser, whatever it may be. And the new Atlas mechanics to be brought in to PoE2 from PoE1, or at least some sort of inspiration. Maybe it might have a different name. Yes, I think we're all like Barricade was saying, the models are there, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just wait and see what happens. Patience is a virtue, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That's great, right? And then again, so we don't think it's gonna launch full release within this time frame. That is pretty clear, but we are totally okay with it. Polish over pace, trust in GGG, and just stay excited. Stay excited because there's so much more to come, and the wait is going to be worth it. Wait will be worth it, folks. So, if you guys don't have any further points, I think that would wrap up our episode here today. Again, everybody, thank you so much for listening or watching wherever you are on the globe. Again, we are joined here with Spooker HD, Reaper, and Barricade, and myself, Hberg. You can find all of us here on Twitch and YouTube, X. Our socials are there. And hell yeah, guys, another great day. And of course, thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for having me here.
thank you.
Well done.
Any final words, gents?
Log in.
That's it.
Log in,
Log in.
PoE, baby.
Yep.
Good stuff, guys. All right, man. That'll be it. Take care, folks.
Adios.
Cheers.